today happens to be Renwood Wells, leader of the National Development Party. Today happens
future PM.
The day happens to be my birthday.
What?
And I will tell you, nearly 40 years, the scriptures let you know that 40 years is a generation. This is a new generation, come 2012, since the general elections. And I want folks to know that today something new was birthed in the hearts and minds of the Bahamian people, and indeed within the confines of this nation. Cable and wireless ought to know that if they put their money in, they ain't gonna get it back. Because a new day is going to come the election of 2012, or whenever it is that the Prime Minister decides to call it. The Bahamian people are against this deal. We are getting absolutely nothing for this deal, and it must not be sold. BTC must remain in the hands of the Bahamian people, and every well-meaning person in this country understands and knows that it is about the future of our generation. A good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. We are the stewards. This has been entrusted to us by the last generation, and I will stand firm, stand in the gap, and lay down to be that bridge to the future, so that future generations of Bahamians, my 5 children who are out here today with my wife, to be able to enjoy the benefits of this country. It is about being empowered, and we refuse to be disempowered. We are now empowered. We want to be more empowered by liberalizing and owning this industry, and we refuse to let a Prime Minister take us back to Egypt. In 1967, Lyndon Pindling said, "These Egyptians you see, you will see no longer, and we will not allow you to take us back to Egypt."
How do you feel about 51% for foreigners, 40% for the government, and only 9% for you of a company you own 100% now?
That's backward thinking. That's not the mind of a man who's interested in the good of his people. Look at developed countries around the globe, whether it's Singapore, whether it's Canada. They have taken the most fundamental industry of theirs, which is telecommunications, and they have given it to their people, the Canadians, whom we love. We love them.
Prince and its mother
has refused to give majority share in their telecommunications industry to anyone other than Canadians. We ought to do the same. You cannot own the majority share in a telecommunications company in Canada. 46.7% is as much as you could own, and the rest of it has to be given to the Canadian people. That is what we should have done in this situation. We believe it is ours now. It ought to stay ours. We ought to be empowered. We should have WiMAX throughout this nation.
You're getting it.
We need to move to the 21st century, and we need a 21st century leader who understands these things.
We got a fellow. Let me ask you a question. You've seen the Verizon commercial, Rule the Air.
Yes.
If you sell the cell sites, who will rule the air?
Cable and wireless will rule the air. Cable and wireless will own the infrastructure, and when they do open up,
game over.
When they do open up, could you imagine me, if I wanted to get a telecommunications company, I would have to pay cable and wireless.
You have to lease the antennas and infrastructure.
To use the infrastructure.
No sense.
What man would do that? What sensible man would make such a decision? He does not care about the good of Bahamians, and he ought to go. He ought to go.
Yeah.